You are about to die, and in your final moments, every word you choose carries the weight of everything you ever were. Now imagine those words had the power to reshape the entire history of humanity. That is not a metaphor. That is exactly what happened on a hill outside Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. Most people know 3 of them. Father, forgive them. It is finished. Into your hands I commend my spirit. These get quoted in sermons. They get painted on church walls. But there were 7 last statements spoken from the cross, and 4 of them almost never get preached. That silence is not an accident. What Jesus said in those final hours was not just theology. It was a map of the human soul under the most extreme pressure imaginable. The first words came before the nails had even dried. He looked down at the soldiers casting lots for his clothing, at the crowd mocking him, at the religious leaders who had orchestrated his execution, and he said something no one expected. He asked God to forgive them. Not after they repented, not after they apologized. Right then, in the middle of it. Biblical scholar N.T. Wright has written extensively on this moment, arguing it was not passive resignation, but a deliberate act of theological confrontation. Jesus was dismantling the entire logic of retribution in real time. Then came a word almost nobody preaches on. A criminal hanging beside him, dying the same death, spoke to him. Not asking for rescue, not asking for a miracle, just asking to be remembered. And Jesus turned and told him that today, that same day, they would be together in paradise. Theologian Jürgen Moltmann spent decades studying this exchange and called it the most radical promise in the New Testament. A man with no religious credentials, no baptism, no church membership, no history of righteousness, was offered paradise in his final breath. That should unsettle every system of religion ever built. Then Jesus looked down and saw his mother. He saw the disciple he loved standing beside her. He was dying. His lungs were collapsing under his own weight. And in that moment, he thought about who would take care of her. He made a family arrangement from the cross. Biblical historian John Meyer points out this detail as one of the strongest markers of historical authenticity in the crucifixion account. A fabricated heroic death does not include a son worrying about his mother's housing situation. Then came the one that stops people cold. He cried out, asking why God had forsaken him. This was not poetic performance. This was Psalm 22, yes, but it was also a real human scream into what felt like an empty sky. The Son of God experiencing the full weight of human abandonment. Every person who has ever prayed into silence and heard nothing back has lived inside that cry. That verse does not get preached because it is uncomfortable, because it admits that faith can coexist with feeling completely alone. He said he was thirsty. After hours on the cross, dehydrated, blood-drained, suffocating slowly, he expressed a physical need. The God of the universe, in a human body, was thirsty. That single word collapsed the distance between the divine and the human in a way no theological argument ever could. And then, before the final surrender, he said, "It is finished." Not "I am finished," not "it is over." The Greek word used was tetelestai. It was a word stamped on paid invoices in the ancient world. It meant a debt had been cleared, completely. Nothing left owing. You have lived inside these 7 statements your whole life without knowing it. Every time you have forgiven someone who never apologized, you lived in the first word. Every time you have felt abandoned in prayer, you lived in the 4th. Every time someone told you it was too late for you, the second word was already your answer. Those last words were not the ending of a story. They were the opening line of every story that came after, including yours.